everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. It is Monday as I'm filming this. It is Monday, December 13th, and today I'm going to make one of my Christmas treats that I've made the last couple of years. It is a Chex Mix. It's going to take about 2 hours. I have to do it in the oven, so I'm going to have to get that preheated. Actually, it bakes for 2 hours, but at 225, and stirring halfway, or turning them with a spatula halfway through, but after the first hour. So I'm going to preheat the oven right now. Last year, usually these two large, if I remember correctly, I thought these two large cookie sheets were big enough. Last year, I seem to recall that I had to do a third cookie sheet. There was just so much. So we'll see how this goes. I haven't put my bowl out yet. I forgot to do that. But basically what you need are plain flavored shreddies, just plain shreddies, honey nut Chex, some Worcestershire sauce. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly. It's like a typical tongue twister for everybody in the world, just about. Some garlic powder, tricolor goldfish crackers, some Cheez-It crackers, some onion powder, a stick of butter melted, which I have to do shortly here. I gotta put this in the microwave, a little bit of Frank's Red Hot sauce, and some pretzels. So let me get this, I'm going to get you up on the tripod here and I'll get started on that. What I'm going to do is I've got the oven preheating now. I'm going to put you on the tripod. I'm going to melt the butter in the microwave and get a large bowl out to mix everything. So I'm going to mix everything by hand in the bowl, and then I'll have to spread it out over the cookie sheet. So let me just pause this for a minute to get you on the tripod and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I still haven't gotten my bowl out yet. Mixing bowl, but I'm going to do that in a second. I'm just going to get this butter in the microwave first and try and get it melted. It's a bit of a messy dish because you're kind of doing this by hand a little bit, but that's fine. I guess I could use a spatula or a wooden spoon to mix everything together in a bowl, but it doesn't matter. If you do it by hand, it's also fine. I washed my hands already, so that should be totally fine. Let me just get into the microwave here. I know that's in front of the camera, but that's okay. Alrighty, now to get a bowl out. It's a big batch, so I'm going to take my larger bowl. My large bowl's out. That's what I will need. Get it out. Got some more mixing bowls inside, so. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty well melted. Okay. All right, now I'm going to get the cooking spray out. I'm going to spray my pans. Funny thing. I'm going to have to stop this video at some point temporarily to find out how much garlic powder and onion powder and sauce to put on, because the recipe's on my phone. I forgot to take the time to write it down first. That is okay. This will just make it easier for flipping it halfway through. You don't want everything just sticking to the tinfoil. Otherwise it'll be difficult to flip. Alright, so first things first, let's get one of our boxes. Let's get our boxes open here. So regular, just plain shreddies. These days, with cereals, whether it's Cheerios, Shreddies, Chex, you name it, there's like different flavors of everything. But for the shreddies in this recipe, it's just plain. And for the Chex, it's honey nut that you need. Not other flavors, just, I mean, unless you want to experiment, I suppose. But yeah, see, this is big already, and it's like, that's only just the shreddies in there. So that's already got a lot in there. I have a feeling I'll be doing a third pan like last year. And this will last a good while once I make it. I mean, I'll just put it in some of my Dollarama Christmas tins. You can give this out in tins or in cookie boxes or something at Christmas to give to people along with Christmas baking. And I put some in tins last year and gave to people along with a tin of brownies and cookies and whatnot. So this is just as good. If I had been prepared, I should have had this ready for last weekend when we had our company over on Saturday. But I was so busy baking everything else under the sun all that week, I didn't get a chance to do that. So, get that Cheez-Its in there. I have to break all these boxes down after. I'm hoping that this is actually the bowl I used last year. I only have one other bowl that's even a little bit bigger than this. And I don't know. I almost seem to recall that last year I used another bowl as well, and I think I made a second batch of the sauce just because this is so big. So I might have to grab my other big bowl and put part of it in there because this is just so big. Such a big batch. Put a little bit in each. And I'll either divide the sauce between the two bowls, or I will either divide it between the two bowls, or I'll make a second batch of the sauce. It's not hard to do. Okay. Okay, so we've got 2 bowls on the go. Cheez-It crackers. Goldfish crackers. I mean, it makes you wonder when he has this much of a big batch if I should have maybe had a second box of Cheez-Its or a second bag of goldfish, but this is fine. I mean, I don't have any more of the tricolor goldfish in the house. There might be some more of the cheddar goldfish kicking around downstairs I could throw in. I'm not sure I'll put the rest in this other bowl. There we go. And that sound means my oven is preheated. Okay, so now pretzels, and then it basically gets down to the butter and the spices. Rest in this bowl. The only problem is, if I make a third pan, I think I can really only fit, these are fairly large cookie sheets, I think I can really only fit the 2, like one on each rack, unless I were to take one and put it like this, if I can, and then take a smaller one and put it beside it, like lengthwise. I don't know if this one will fit in there. Let me see. Will it fit in like this properly? Kinda, sorta. Not great. Yeah, it's touching the pan. Would rather not. But then that means then if I do a third pan, it has to wait to go in the oven, which means it may get a little soggy. So what I might do then is I will make 2 pans, and if I have to make a second batch of sauce for a third pan, I'll wait and apply the sauce to the other pan's worth of stuff after the fact. Well, depends. Let me pause this for a minute. Let me find out how much garlic powder and other spices I need to put in, because I didn't write it down. So 1 second, please. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. I think we've got this under control now. So basically, I need to put, it says a dash of Frank's Red Hot sauce in there. So basically, you can put as much as you want in, depending on how spicy you want this. This one we need 4 tablespoons and a teaspoon each of the garlic powder and the onion powder. And it also calls for salt. So I'm going to mix this other bowl up off to the side here. We'll get these guys ready. Try and roll this sleeve up a little bit. Okay, so here's our stick of butter. We're going to try and divide it over both. feeling we might need a second one. Well, maybe not. Once this all gets mixed in there, it might not be too bad. Okay. Now, it says a dash of the red hot, but maybe I'll do a tablespoon each, because I'm doing 4 tablespoons of the other. I mean, a tablespoon sounds like a lot, but at the same time, these are big size bowls, so it all depends on how much spice or kick you want it to have, I guess. I'm not huge on spice, but this is going to be dispersed throughout a whole bowl, right? So these bowls are not small, so I think it would be okay. I guess we'll find out. This does, as I said, it does take 2 hours to bake. It's being baked at 225. So that's going to take a good while. 2 hours at 225. It's a slow oven. Okay. Oh, this is always fun getting this out here. Okay. 1. Watch me lose count. It's supposed to be 4, so. And I'm going to have messy hands when I'm trying to mix this all in here, but that is okay. It's part of baking sometimes is getting a little bit messy. Even though this isn't baking a square or a dessert, really, it's still baking, it's still cooking. You do end up getting a little messy sometimes. It's to be expected. And I think I just lost count. Was that 2 or was that 3? Oh, man. I think that was just 3. If not, and that was 4, then I guess I'm putting 5 in this one. But, you know, I think a lot of this is just to taste anyway, probably, so it's not a huge issue. I mean, this bottle is going down quickly. Hope I have another one downstairs. Not for this recipe. I think this will be enough for this one, but just in general for cooking, I'm hoping I have another bottle. I think I do. Was that 2 or 3? Oh man, I get distracted very easily. Just mentally, even though I'm not talking a lot, my mind will wander and it's like, oh no. Well, I'm gonna put, oops, I'll put the whole spoon in there. I'm gonna put a little more in just in case that wasn't quite 4. So, okay, and it says a teaspoon each of the garlic and the onion. I may make it a little bit more than a teaspoon. Just make it a heaping one, maybe is what I'll do. And I can tell by the packet of my onion powder is getting quite low. I'm going to have to replace that soon. I don't usually use actual chopped up onions in my cooking, so I tend to not like finding chunks of onion in my cooking, so I tend to like to use onion powder just for the flavor, as opposed to chopping up an onion. So, okay, there's some garlic powder. It was a heaping teaspoon, now a little bit more. And then now some onion powder. And then the salt, I'll just put like a dash of it on there, I guess. A little sprinkle. This is definitely not meant to be like a Christmas treat, as in like sweet. This is definitely going to be more of the savory variety. I have made it last 2 or 3 Christmases. And it goes over well. It's definitely not something for like, you know, like a sweet treat. It's not a brownie or a Rice Krispie square or a cookie. It's definitely more along the savory lines, but it's good. And it makes a big batch, so it will last, pretty much all month, depending on your family and how much you eat of it. But I mean, like I say, you can easily put this in Christmas tins and give them away as gifts to people, you know, along with brownies and shortbread cookies and rum balls and stuff. That's not even a half a teaspoon of salt on here. This is a 1 teaspoon measuring cup. I didn't even fill that half, so this is maybe half a teaspoon, probably less. And again, this is all going to get mixed in by hand, so it'll be dispersed through an entire big bowl. So now, I think there's a little bit of butter still remaining in there. I was finished drizzling those last drops in there. Okay. We are going to mix this up by hand. Get this mixed in as best we can. And then once they're mixed in fairly well, we will layer them on the cookie sheets, and that's when we'll know if it's too heaping high on the cookie sheets, if we need to make a third sheet or not. But then, because the oven's going to be quite full with these large cookie sheets, the third sheet's going to have to sit and wait, which that's why I was toying with holding some back and putting a separate set of sauce on that, because, you know, if the third sheet has to sit for the 2 hours and wait its turn to go in the oven, then it gets a little bit soggy waiting, but mind you, once it goes in the oven, it kind of crisps back up again, so it's not a huge problem. So basically, you just want to just use your hands to get in there and just try and get everything, you know, you can kind of go by feel. You can feel if you're finding anything that's still dry or if it's coated, if everything's pretty well coated. You just want everything as coated as it can be. Same thing to this guy. I wonder if we're not going to need a third bowl, because this bowl, the metal one is wider, but this one is deep. So we shall see. I have a feeling. I thought the first year I did this 2 years ago, I made it on just 2 cookie sheets and it was fine. But I feel like in this case it's needing a third sheet. I just have a feeling it might end up that way. And I don't know. Like, I almost wonder if I do need to melt another little bit of butter, because this is not completely coated, I don't think. Oh, I've got a visitor here. I don't know if you guys can see, but my son-in-law is here. And that might not be a good thing, because he sometimes bites. He's a troublemaker, that one. That, and I don't want him getting into this, because birds should not have garlic and onion and stuff, and that's toxic to them. So I'm probably going to go pause this. And I think I might just quickly melt a little bit more butter. So let me just pause this. I'll be back in a moment to continue. So I want to get a little bit more butter on there to make sure everything's coated. Just 1 second. Okay, I have got another stick of butter melted, and I've added a little bit more of the red hot sauce and the Worcestershire sauce and the garlic powder and onion powder to it, just because, you know, now there's going to be more butter in there, and it may dilute some of the spices. So I'm just kind of eyeballed that a little bit. Hopefully by putting more red hot sauce in there, hopefully that won't make it ridiculously spicy, but again, it's going to be dispersed throughout 2 really large bowls, so I think it should be fine. Okay, there we go. Now let's get these guys mixed up, because I could just tell some of these shreddies and stuff before were not feeling like they're, if I can feel some of the ones I'm touching are damp and they're coated, but some of them are still very dry, so. Again, the only problem will be is if I have to do a third pan, because then it will sit, unless I take one of them out at the 1 hour mark and put pan number 3 in for an hour. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out as I go. But I'm hoping to be able to just get by with 2. I seem to recall the first year I did it, I got by with 2, no problem. But this time around, I know last year I wound up doing a third pan. I don't know, I think it's that I didn't want the pans heating in the oven. I'm not sure, but whichever. We'll find out. Okay, this definitely feels well coated. And that's good. Okay, so now you're basically just going to scoop them on here. Could probably pour them on, but whichever. Either way. And again, these guys are going to bake for 2 hours at a 225 oven, so a slow oven. Fairly slow oven anyway. And you turn them with a spatula halfway through. The pans can be heaping somewhat. It's not the end of the world if they are. It's not a problem. This bowl, this metal one, is not as deep. It's just wide. So we'll see how the plastic one does. That one is not as wide, but it is deep. So pour these guys all into here for now. Okay. And this one, and the problem is with these guys is that these bowls do not fit very well in my dishwasher. if they do, they would go on the bottom, and then I would just wouldn't be able to put a top layer on because they would cover kind of that spout, so the water wouldn't really reach the top of the dishwasher too well. Well, you know, I might be able to get away with 2 pans. They are going to be heaping, though. It's the only thing. And that is okay. But because they're heaping, you can see just what a large batch this is going to make. And that means you also have to be somewhat careful when you're flipping them. Yeah, see, I can feel on the bottom here, they're not completely coated. See if there's any last drops of butter in that bowl that can come out. It's not a lot, but just enough little bit of moisture I can stir into that last part on the bottom. Because I can feel it, I can just tell, I'm feeling dry shreddies there, some of them. Not all of them, but a little bit. Just need to really blend it in as much as you can. So yeah, I doubled the recipe in that I used the proper amount of dry ingredients, the Cheez-Its, goldfish crackers, shreddies, and Chex, and pretzels. But I did do 2 sticks of butter instead of 1. I did do more hot sauce and more Worcestershire sauce, and more garlic powder and onion powder, just because I felt like if I was doing double the butter, then if I went with a single batch amount of spices, that the double butter might dilute the spices a little bit. So we doubled it, just so that the spices don't get lost in all the moisture. So I think it should be okay. Now we're seeing some crumbs here, but that's fine. I did pour the whole cereal boxes on there, so of course that means some of the crumbs that were in the bottom of the bags. Yeah, when the pans are heaping like this, that means flipping them is a bit of a challenge at the 1 hour mark, but I'm not going to be flipping them like a pizza or anything, so it's not like they'll be airborne or anything like that. And because I am getting to some crumbs, I might leave a tiny bit in the bowl here. I've been trying to get these last goldfish crackers and stuff, but I'm not going to worry about these residual crumbs in the bowl because, I mean, obviously I've got lots here as it is. 2 very large pans. Okay, that is a lot. So let me wash my hands here, and then I will take you off the tripod and show you exactly how everything looks. This is a crazy amount of food. But then that's me. When I'm baking or cooking, I don't ever do anything halfway. It's always a big batch. I mean, usually when I'm baking, I do a double batch of stuff. This is not a double batch. This is just a single batch of Chex Mix. But, you know, normally if I'm doing a batch of cookies that's 2 or 3 dozen, I'll just double it up because I'm already in baking mode. So what's the difference? I might as well, especially, maybe not if I'm just baking for the fun of it, but for this time of year when it's Christmas and you need lots because you're having company and you're giving lots away, then yeah, then I double it up usually. So let me wash my hands. Sticky and greasy from butter. You can probably, yeah, you can see them there on the stovetop. How full and heaping they actually are. These crumbs and stuff, I'll just toss these out. Okay, so you can see them from here. You can see just how full they are. I don't know if I can zoom in or not on this. I might be able to. Yes, I can. There you go. So you can see just how full they are. I'm going to put them in the oven and let them bake for an hour. So I will check back with you guys after 2 hours once they are done and show you how everything turned out. We'll see you guys later. All right, I am back. It is now 8:36 in the evening, and I just pulled these 2 huge pans of Chex Mix out of the oven. Look how high this guy is stacked. I know I don't know if it really looks that much different on video now that it's cooked than it did before. Probably some things might look a little browner. I definitely can't translate the scent or the flavor to you through video, unfortunately. But you can see how full these both are. So this is how they turned out. This is going to take several tins to fill these up. I'm going to put 1 tin aside to take to a friend at church on Sunday, and the rest, I don't know what I'm going to do with. I'd like to say I could put them in some tins, but I don't know if I have enough tins to go around. I might have to just put them in either a large bowl, or maybe even some ice cream pails or something like that for the time being, and then dole them out into tins when I'm ready to give them away, or how exactly I'm going to do this. But either way, they are now finished, and yeah, they're ready to be packaged up. That's the conundrum, is how to package them up, as I just said. But anyway, that is done, and it's 8:37 in the evening, so I'm not going to do any more cooking or baking tonight, but that is what I did today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and of course subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Have a great week, everyone.